I asked you what you thought of the current state of BMW Z3 prices, whether they were overvalued or undervalued. I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. And right. It depends on a number of things. But here is my completely unprofessional opinion. Sorry for the delay in this video, I had to remake it and that's why it's a week late. But stick around because at the end we'll announce the winner of the giveaway from the last Z3 video. So over the last couple of years, the second-hand car market has skyrocketed thanks to someone messing up at a laboratory. And this has also affected the price of the Z3. Even some of the smaller engines like the 1.8 and the 1.9 has been going for what some can consider silly money. On the flip side, people were forced to sell their pride and joy just so they could have cash to survive. It was really rough for a lot of people. Currently on Auto Trader, the cheapest non-Cat D Z3 you can find is a 1.9 for £2,000, which is higher than I bought both mine for, and also higher than last year. Let's take a look at this example. Here we have a 1.9 Z3 from '97, like my first one, and this is priced at £2,000. It's got 159,000 miles and looks to be in decent nick. It's got full leather seats, it's got nice carpet, the bodywork looks in good condition, it's got a few rips in the leather here and there, but overall it's not a bad example of a Z3. And there are some Z3s that are listed for what could be said are optimistic prices. Like this 2002 1.9 litre, listed for £6,950, it's quite a lot more than, well, the cheapest one that we looked at earlier. But it does have nice alloys, it does look like it's in good condition on the outside. You can see it's also got the sport bolstered seats, and they look amazing. But is it valued that much more? The mileage difference is, this has got 85,000 miles, so it's nearly half. So it could be argued that this one is a little bit overpriced when you compare it to other Z3s that are of the different variants. Just like this 2.2, which is listed at £3,295. So if you were looking at the 1.9 to £2,000, this one isn't that much of a jump. And again, looking at it, it looks nice. The condition looks pretty decent. There's no obvious rust around, which is pretty good. You don't want any of that. And this one has 108,000 miles. So for 15,000... So for about, what, 20,000 miles more? So for 23,000 miles more, you could get this car, which is faster than the 1.9 for 6,000 and whatever it was. But back to the question, are Z3s undervalued at the moment? Before we continue, if you're looking to buy a Z3, is the one that you want in your price range? And if you've already bought a Z3, was the one that you wanted the one that was in your price range? Or did you have to extend a little bit? It'd be interesting to see. Let's look at comparable cars like the MX-5, the SLK and the Porsche Boxster, which were the Z3's kind of competition around the time. Similar aged SLKs are actually very cheap and priced around £1,000. They're not as good looking as a Z3, but you've got to remember that these 230 compressors are supercharged engines, so they have that oomph behind them. These weren't terrible to drive, they're still a good car, and they also had good technology in them. They had folding hardtops. And the fact that we're 2 pages in, and we haven't hit the 2K mark yet, there we go. It kind of goes to show that the quantity of cars below the 2K range kind of shows how it matches up to the Z3. The Mark II Mazda MX-5 can be found cheaper than the Z3, starting at under £1,000. The biggest difference, however, isn't the price. Similar to the SLK, it's the sheer number of cars within the £2,000 to £3,000 price range. There'll always be some sort of debate between whether the Z3 is better handling than the MX-5. But I think that we can all agree that the MX-5 is a car that's fun to drive, just like the Z3, but they're slightly different experiences. On the bigger end, comparing the 2.8 Z3 to the 2.5 and 2.7 Porsche Boxsters, you're looking to start around 6k for newer Porsche Boxsters, or around £3,000 for a Boxster from the late 90s if you're lucky. And by newer I don't mean in the last 5 years. So comparing the Z3 to its competitors, it seems that everything's in some sort of a slump at the moment. But the Z3 has something that its competitors doesn't. Its bloodline has ended. From the 90s until this very day, you can buy yourself a new version of an MX-5 or a Boxster, but you can't with the Z3. Sure, there's a Z4, but that's an entirely different car, in all honesty. So it doesn't count as a real continuation. Because the Z3 was so unique for its time, and there are no more Z3 variants coming out, every owner is holding onto a piece of history. So here's the thing, this is probably the last chance to pick up a Z3 at these prices. Over the last few years, pretty much every auto journalist and car magazine has touted the Z3 as being a future classic. It's in all the ads, and it's something that seems inevitable. The car has that perfect blend of driving experience and luxury from the late 90s and early 2000s. The bolt-on, bolt-off DIY aspect, paired with the beauty of the car, is something that you don't get from many others. The one thing the Z3 has going against it is that it's slow. In comparison to today's hot hatches, the Z3 isn't fast, but that's okay. The Z3 is meant to be driven and enjoyed. In fact, that's the perfect recipe for a valuable classic. Something unique and something that you enjoy to drive. The entire experience of owning the car. So, to give my opinion on whether the Z3 is overvalued or undervalued, I think that it's, at the moment, undervalued. And this is probably the best chance to pick up a Z3 at these prices before they start climbing. And a real important indicator for if the Z3 is going to go up in price is to look on YouTube. How many people have bought this as a project car to build? There's a lot of channels popping up and they're buying Z3s and working on them. And the more popular they get, the more people are going to want to buy them, and that will push up the prices. In theory anyway. Before we end, it's time to announce the winner of the Strut Brace giveaway. Firstly, thank you for everyone that commented. It was great seeing your favourite memories of your Z3. Love some of the stories, and it definitely makes me miss mine and the fact that my current one is in the garden. I can't wait to get back out there and actually work on it and drive it. So the winner is... Please email me at feelthedriveofficial@gmail.com so that I can get all the details to send you your prize. So what now? If you're on the fence about buying a Z3, then check out this buying guide that I made. Thank you for watching this little thought discussion, and I'll see you in the next video.